Hello and welcome to the Perth Gaming Crew Show. My name is Jonathan and today's two crew show. Johhny, good to see you again. We've been off for a little while. How are you?
Yeah, good, Jono. It's been a little bit of a hiatus. I've been battling through the early winter lurgy, but very happy to be back talking to you and what an exciting time of year to be talking about all the big releases that are coming up in the next little while.
Absolutely. It's actually not a bad time to be sick, so you can take all that time off to watch all of the big showcases that no doubt the people of Perth and beyond have been following. We've seen a showcase from Sony, we've seen a showcase from Xbox, we've seen something from Ubisoft, and also Summer Games Fest with Nintendo on the way. So there have been a lot of game announcements and reveals. So today's episode is all about our favorite picks from those. I must say that we're missing our third musketeer. He's currently out of action, but we are hoping Pat will come back next time. And we're going to save a couple of his choice games like Silent Hill 2 and Gears of Wars for his discussion because he's a huge fan of those. I can't take those away from him. But let's get straight into it. And I don't know. We've got so many to cover. Where do we start? I think we need to start at probably one of the biggest ones from the Xbox showcase that it was an absolute banger to me, and it's just been received so well in the gaming community. This is Doom: The Dark Ages. There were some rumors that this might be in development, that Doom was coming soon. There was going to be a medieval twist, and it's all come to fruition. I think some of the people were concerned that with the rumors, there might be just a medieval close combat focused game. It's not the case. They very much highlight the double barrel shotgun, the most iconic weapon of the game in this trailer, probably quite deliberately. And this just looks absolutely superb. Personally, I played the very first Doom remake that came out for the PS4 and Xbox One and PC. Thought it was brilliant. I haven't gotten to Doom Eternal yet, but I might even skip that and just jump straight into this. I don't even know where to start. I'm so excited for this game. The shield is such a clever idea in terms of bringing in the medieval theme, and the way you can see the Doomslayer throwing it and it's spinning and parrying enemies and then chopping them to bits. And then you can see just some of the great guns there, like the one that grinds up the skulls as it's shooting like splintery kind of bullets at enemies. What more do you want from life, really? Johhny, do you know what the Doom series is, and what do you think of this game? How do you think this looks?
Big fan of the Doom IP back since the 90s when I was playing it on PC, and I think this kind of medieval setting is just made for a Doom game. So this is one I'll be definitely checking out next year. Big fan of the Doom series for sure.
Awesome. So this is, they announced that this is coming next year. No set release date. It does look like it's quite far along from that footage. Straight into Game Pass day one if you got Game Pass. Big incentive there. It's also coming to PlayStation 5, which I think is fantastic. I don't care about the whole console wars thing. You know, if there's a game that's coming out, I hope people can play it everywhere. And there's a lot of Doom fans out there. It just looks so good. And the fact that he's riding a dragon and he's in a weird Doom mech thing, why not? You know, like it's cyber medieval, whatever it is, it's just glorious. It looks really good. Yeah.
Couldn't be more epic, could it, Jono?
It couldn't. It couldn't. And it looked a little bit like it even might be a bit more open world, perhaps. I'm not sure. So with the original Doom remake, it was more mission based. And they were kind of like, it would box you in these levels to fight demons, which this might do because it just works as a game mechanic. But it just does have a bit more of an open feel to it, which I think doesn't look bad. And graphically, it looks really nice. So very psyched and excited for that. What a massive reveal that is going off on the internet. So the next one is it's Johnny's pick. This one was revealed at the start of the year. Johhny, what are we looking at here?
This is going to be huge. I'm a big ancient history buff, and so the Indiana Jones movie franchise is always kind of high on my list of interest. And unfortunately, Indy Jones, he probably hasn't had the best fortunes to date in terms of a good video game adaptation. So Indiana Jones: The Great Circle, which we're seeing one of the trailers from, is kind of holds a lot of promise in terms of being a good video game adaptation of an Indiana Jones story. So far, we've kind of seen a lot of sort of cinematic trailers, including one that was shown in the last couple of days. And I actually quite enjoyed it because it's kind of got it's got the indie formula where you have, you know, Indy and his companion in some sort of incredulous location. In this case, I think they're on a battleship on top of the Himalayas. It's frozen, and then they, of course, they get intercepted by Nazis, and very kind of slapstick. Indy Jones combat is always a little bit, fights are always a little bit, got a bit of a slapstick element to them. He's a bit of a barroom brawler. So yeah, it just had all the sort of elements, and it had, some amusing dialogue. We'll have to at some point talk about the choo choo Indiana. Wacky Nazi antics. Again, it's another game with a 2025 release. Oh no, 2024 release.
2024,
but no specific date yet. So a lot of speculation. It's probably like end of the year, which excites me quite a bit as an end of year kind of game to dig my teeth into. I'm hoping to get this on PC, and so to have a bit of fun with this. So cool. Obviously very keen to see some more gameplay. And I imagine as the year goes on, we'll see a bit more of the gameplay for this one. Very exciting. I'm a big fan of the Indy Jones movies. Actually quite enjoyed the most recent one. I know
I did too. I actually did too. I liked it.
I know it probably got a bit of flack from people, especially on the internet, but I actually quite enjoyed it. So I think it's if you like the kind of story they had in that, I have a feeling that this game will go down quite smoothly based on what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's got a really broad appeal to it. So it's done by Machine Games, and they did the Wolfenstein games. So there is a mix of character interaction, quite intense or immersive combat. Although you can see from the trailer that they're bringing it back to a bit more indie-like, where he's got his whip. You're not running around with machine guns just shooting Nazis all day. I liked that it was a cinematic trailer. It was like, oh, I'm watching an indie movie. Like, it was quite a long trailer, hey Johhny, for that showcase, and sometimes people don't like that, but I thought it was good. And for those of you who are particularly interested in this game, if you go check out Xbox's official channel, a lot of people don't realize this and it wasn't announced, but they actually have provided extensive gameplay deep dive into the game that's come out today, Australia time. So go spend your Saturday morning, afternoon, whatever time it is, and wherever you are in Australia watching that, because it'd be well worth it if you're an indie fan. I think it looks great too. That's on my list. Again, that's straight into Game Pass. That one's exclusive to Xbox, PC. Might come to PlayStation later. We'll see what happens. The next one was probably the one that most people went wild for. This was a wild card. So this is Perfect Dark, and so that name will mean a lot to people like me who grew up in the era with the original game on the N64 when we were playing games like GoldenEye, and then Perfect Dark came out as kind of like the less popular cousin with a bit more kind of cyber spy, like espionage feel to it. People have been begging for this game for years and years and years, and Xbox created a studio back in 2018 just to develop it, and it's been in development hell, basically, but it's finally come good. The initiative who's been developing paired up with Crystal Dynamics, who developed the relatively recent Tomb Raider trilogy, which was top quality. And this was unexpected because people weren't sure if it's coming or not, if it's years away. But what we were shown here was a lot of gameplay footage, and it looks really good. It reminds me of Indie in the sense of it's not just shooting constantly, but you're navigating the area. The parkour element's really cool. Using gadgets. So Joanna Dark is like this spy who's using her gadgets to navigate different situations. There's been commentary I've seen about the HUD being really clean and simple. I agree. I like that. I don't like a really cluttered HUD for FPS games or other games in general. And this is targeting a 2025 release. But again, it just looks good. I personally was quite surprised how far along it looks like it's come. I thought if we would get anything, we'd get a cinematic trailer rebooting the series and saying it's coming in 2026. So this was a very pleasant surprise. Johhny, are you familiar with the Perfect Dark games at all? And if not, what does this trailer look like for you?
Oh no, I haven't played any games from this series, but I was watching the footage there, and it was it seems like it's got some good like stealth elements, like it almost Arkham-esque in some ways, you know.
Yeah, that's very Batman right there, isn't it?
Yeah. The stealth sequences in the Arkham games is kind of brought that to mind, and that looks like a lot of fun, because I do like the stealth sequences in the Arkham games. So this will probably be quite a lot of fun, and obviously there's probably a lot more to this game than that, or obviously, but yeah, no, that just looks. I can understand why this generated the buzz that it did.
Yeah, no, I think what's going to be interesting with this game is there will be old fans who will be pulled into it. But it's curious to me to see what people who have no idea what the franchise is, whether this is actually attractive to them and go, well, what's the relevance to me, amidst the number of shooter stealth games. I think this looks like it stands out though with the mix of gameplay elements. So looking forward to that one. Johhny, while we are on the topic of kind of first-person immersive games, we've covered a bit of Xbox. The showcase there was amazing. PlayStation, there was one that you thought looked quite interesting.
Yeah, not to forget the Sony State of Play prezzo at the end of May. I know it feels like a long time ago now, but it was only about 2 weeks ago or so. But they showed they gave a bit of a teaser to the Alien Rogue Incursion VR game, which it looks like I'd be absolutely terrified playing an Alien game in VR, because the alien xenomorphs are terrifying enough as it is. It stood out for me as in that Sony prezzo, the Alien, and it was just a few days after Ridley Scott's Alien had its actually 45th anniversary. So it was kind of cool that I think it was kind of cool that Sony actually included this in their State of Play. It does look really cool. It's got that. If anyone's a big fan of Alien Isolation, people, I think the comparisons are already kind of being made from what limited what's been shown so far. It's kind of got that sort of vibe, very much the vibe of the original Alien movie, as opposed to say the Aliens action sequel, where it's more like that survival against one of the xenomorphs, as opposed to like battling like it's not a shoot 'em up with lots of xenomorphs, that kind of thing. So yeah, looked interesting to me. Question in my mind whether I'd play it in VR, because it sounds like it'd be terrifying. But it does look pretty visually stunning, and in terms of, as you say, immersion, it's got to be right up there in terms of immersive gameplay. But yeah, no, looked pretty cool. So I thought it was worth highlighting, even though it was kind of old news now.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Johnny. I agree. And I mean, the PlayStation State of Play wasn't the best received, and I watched it. No, I there wasn't a lot in there that I found particularly of interest. And then you saw the Xbox One come out, and it was just like, oh, okay, look away. It's a bit awkward, but yeah, it was. This game looked really good. I think you bang on the money when you relate it to Alien Isolation, which is currently on the Switch, the PS4, PS5, Xbox Series, Xbox One, PC. Fantastic game for those of you looking that like quintessential alien experience of being terrified and disempowered. I find it curious. Like, I think this is also a really good game for the VR platform. You want that immersive, terrifying, high fidelity looking simulator experience. I'm hoping it does come. I'm not sure if it does, but I'm hoping it does come to like PC and the other platforms without the VR attachment, even as a small game slice to try out, because it does look like really good quality. Yeah, so that one's coming too. That is coming Q3 this year. Yeah.
Where are you taking us next, Jono?
We're going to Avowed. So, as excited as I am for those games I've talked about and we've talked about already, Avowed is my pick of the year. This is one that I am super excited for. So, we saw another trailer for it at the start of this year, was it? I think it was. Or was it mid last year? I can't remember. Essentially, this game was announced around the time of the original Xbox Series was announced back in 2020. And it's changed in the look and tone since then and received some criticism. For me, this is exactly the just type of game that I've been wanting for a long time since the Elder Scrolls Skyrim came out. I love that game. I've played that game thoroughly. I haven't seen anything that kind of compares to Skyrim. And I know this is not trying to be Skyrim or as big as that. Obsidian don't develop games as big as that at this scale. It's the first time they've done a first-person and also third-person camera option game like this. But Avowed is looking very, very good. It is exciting that it's an exclusive at the moment to Xbox. It's kind of made me feel like, yeah, I've definitely invested in the right platform because I bought that last year. And this just looks really good. I really like the kind of tropical, kind of ethereal look of it. It's not just the typical standard like Lord of the Rings, dark fantasy stuff. So I quite like the vibrancy. There is also on the Xbox official channel a really deep dive into the gameplay for this game where they show off character interactions, the combat. There was a bit of criticism around the combat not being weighty, but it looks really good to me now. I just can't wait for this game to come out. It didn't get a formal release date at the showcase, which people criticize it for, but the developer Obsidian posted on their own Facebook channel a release date, and then when someone noticed it, they deleted it. And so it's likely that it's coming there, given how far along it is and how good it looks. Johnny, are these games of interest to you? Have you heard about this, or did you get into Skyrim or Elder Scrolls or anything like that?
Look, I haven't, and really just because of the knowing what a time sink some of these games can be, kind of
try to have a life outside of these games.
I purposely avoid them almost because I know I'll love them too much. But yeah, no, this does look cool, and I like the kind of twist on the usual high fantasy, and I do quite like the art style. So yeah, I'd probably at the risk of being sucked into quite what is quite a long experience. I probably would check this out. I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good point you make about like the time sink you need to put into these games. And typically, I personally avoid games of this size because I don't have that kind of time during the week. I've got a couple of kids and I'm working and all this stuff. But it is what it is. And this is one game where I'm like, no, I'm willing to put in the time or set aside my leave provisions or spend some times to get into.
Yeah.
So, it's like you got to pick and choose. Hey, Johnny.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, speaking of big games, this one got a cinematic trailer reveal. I think it kind of went under the radar a little bit compared to some of the other big games, but it's big for some of us. Hey, Johnny, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, look, and speaking of time sinks, Sid Meier's Civilization has been one that has, a turn-based strategy game that has managed over a couple of different entries. Certainly the original OG entry back in the 90s, but more recently it's been Civ 5 and 6 that have captured my time quite a bit. And it's been rumored for a while. People have been speculating when is Civ 7 coming, the next entry in the series, and they dropped like a 2-minute, or not even a 2-minute, I think it was like this minute and a half.
Yeah, minute and a half roughly.
Teaser trailer, and it's pretty stock standard, stock standard Civ stuff, like, charting, progress of civilization from, early age to the space age, and, inspirational quotes and that sort of stuff. I mean, that's all the stuff that Civ fans kind of expect. In Civ 6, we were quite spoilt because we had the Sean Bean voiceover with all the inspirational quotes.
Cool.
Every time you kind of discovered a new technology, you got a quote from someone in history, and it was voiced by Sean Bean. So it's kind of sitting and wondering. So all the speculation now begins about the next entry in Civ, like which civilizations and which leaders you'll get, and what will be what kind of art style will they go for this time? And so it's very exciting. I can't help myself with these games. They capture my imagination, and it's just like, for example, I've always pretty much got a game of Civ 6 on the go. I've got like a Roman campaign happening at the moment that I sort of plug a little bit of time into every so often, in between other things. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to this is another 2025 release.
2025
some point in 2025.
Yeah.
I suspect it could be later in 2025, given haven't shown us really anything yet, just some a teaser trailer. So I think it could be later next year. But I will definitely jump on this. Can't help myself when it comes to Civ.
Yeah, nice, very nice. I'm curious with these games. Like, I only ever played the original Civ back on DOS, and I remember, so that was like one of the biggest games that came out when PCs first came out. Oh, I'm showing our age there.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, you could build flanks, and then I had a flanks that was attacked by a battleship and somehow won. And I was like, I think they're still working on the game mechanics for this stuff.
In the early versions of Civ, you could like level up. You could have like. You just level up your like spearman, and somehow you can beat a tank or something. And obviously all that's, they kind of, by the later entries, they'd sort of sorted all that stuff out. So you can't have like a slinger or an archer take out like a nuclear
militia or whatever,
nuclear sub or something like that. You know? So that stuff's been ironed out in the later entries. But the original entry was quite fun for stuff like that. But I have a lot of nostalgia for that original DOS.
Oh, me too.
PC entry, it's pretty classic for it, and so innovative for its time. It was just like there wasn't really anything like that, and now there's probably a lot more games that are trying to emulate Civ or aspects of Civ, and Civ is kind of it's just the quintessential turn-based strategy game, and all the different variations of success options, like all the different ways you can win a game of Civ now is so varied. So it's just I'm really looking forward to see what they do with the 7th entry in the series.
It looks good. Like I would look at this game again. I just know that this is something that fans like you are just like, all right, when's the next one? When's it coming? Sounds like you're not too bothered that the trailer's not a mix of gameplay and all that, because you just know it's coming and you know it's going to be good.
No, I'm not too bothered, to be honest, because they've still been adding on content to Civ 6 up until pretty recently. Like they've been doing the little like
like factions, or
like
just
little campaigns,
patches and balances.
Yeah, adding little campaigns you can do. Like they had a couple earlier in the year around March. They had it was called Ides of March, where you play as Julius Caesar, and you're kind of doing the kind of early kind of expansion of the Roman Empire out of the Italian peninsula and stuff like that. So
Cool.
yeah, these games are for history buffs, and me as an ancient history buff, like I get a lot. I enjoy these a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very awesome. Well, something that does have a little bit of history in it, I'm not really sure. This is, we've slagged off the Sony showcase, not really. But this is something that came out later in Summer Games Fest. And this was something that was leaked as well. And it's had a mixed reaction to, but I've picked it because I think it's quite interesting and I think it looks pretty good. So this is called Lego Horizon Adventures, and essentially, for those of you who know the Horizon Zero Dawn series, that stuff on PlayStation, are big fans of that, which is a huge franchise. It looks like they're trying to scale it down, so to speak, make it kids friendly, and make this like an entry point into that series. There's been some criticism around who this game is for. It's like, those games are M-rated, so this is for kids. There's too much of a disconnect. And then it's also on the Switch, and people are going, why is it on the Switch? For me personally, I think it just looks like a really good, fun time. We haven't seen Lego games since the Star Wars Lego games, and they looked really good. And I don't have a PlayStation myself, and the Horizon series is a series that, I wish was on Xbox. And I have a Switch. And it's like, okay, I'm ready for another Lego game. This actually looks pretty good to me. It's also developed in cooperation with Guerrilla Games, who did the Horizon games. They've got a great pedigree because they've made games like, I think it was Killzone, one I used to play on my PS4 back in the day. So I'm curious about this. Johhny, what did you think about this one?
I just think it looks visually stunning, and I just love that the Lego franchise, it's always going to a new frontier, whether it's in games or just in Lego. Like I'm in my 40s and I still love Lego. Like I picked up the Seinfeld Lego set.
There's a Seinfeld Lego set.
Yeah, actually,
what?
I started building it. Like that's actually the Jerry's apartment. It's a bit of a segue. So
it's so good.
So when you said like, who is this for? I kind of think, well, Lego's kind of for everyone now. There's people in their 30s and 40s who love Lego, and the Lego games are really like they got their quintessential brand and their quintessential kind of humor, and I think kind of anyone can enjoy it. And so if this, I kind of think if this IP, if it gives fans of that IP a little bit more content, I'm all for it. It looks visually beautiful. So I think more power to them. Yeah. So as I was saying before the show, what's next? Are we getting Lego Dark Souls, or what's the next frontier for the Lego people?
Yeah, exactly. And look, I think this is a really smart move, because them bringing this to Switch brings us to 100+ million people who have an install base. There are people who are with kids, people with families, people who just go, oh, I like dinosaurs, so I'm going to play a dinosaur Lego game on Switch. Because yes, there's Lego Jurassic Park, but it's very old. So I think there is a huge market for this. And like you said, Johhny, it looks really nice. So I'm curious to see how it looks on the current Switch, and then if it comes out on the next Switch, which we all know is coming next year, right? And does it get upscaled with graphics? Does it run without stuttering and a steady frames per second? All of that kind of thing. So very curious to see about that. And apparently there's a TV show in the works, I've heard, as well for this. So again, it's a bit like The Last of Us, Halo, what else is out there? Fallout that's come out. All the game series are coming to the streaming shows, and the big game companies are just mixing that. And of course, the Mario movie, which we've talked about before. So they're reaching into new audiences. And Lego, like you said, Johhny, it's for everyone. If someone sees this on the shelf, they're not even a gamer. They might go, oh, this is really cool. Like, I really like the characters. And then I like the robots, cyber dinosaurs. And then they're like, oh, there's a game. They might buy into that economy, the Sony economy. So I don't know. There's no losers here, so to speak, right? Like, Yeah, it looks really nice. Now, if we do go back to ancient history, I don't know what this is, but this is the first of two big games we're going to talk about from the Ubisoft showcase, which is pretty bloody good. Johhny, as the history buff, is going to tell us what is going on here because I have no idea, but I am intrigued. So, Johhny, what on
I kind
earth?
of I kind of love I kind of love this trailer. It's so ridiculous. So before that, I'll just obviously if you're not familiar, there's the Anno series is a real-time strategy city builder sort of sim game. And
Is it like Age of Mythology, or is it more like Civ, or is it
it's
more
got
like
more
Total
it's got
War, or?
well, no, it's got more in common with
Hmm.
Sim City, but it's
Oh,
like
right, right.
with like different historical settings.
Okay.
And so people got very excited because they're bringing a new entry. It's called Anno 117 Pax Romana. So you're getting to like city build in the context of sort of the early expansion of the Roman Empire. And so this has got a lot of people excited because there have been earlier entries with a sort of Roman theme, but it's not. I think it's been some time since the games had that sort of setting. So it's they released this short teaser trailer which was very silly. It was like a Roman kind of herald, and he's spruiking like the glory of Rome, but
There's no one there or
there's no one there.
something.
It's just like
There's a bunch of goats or
a couple
sheep
of
or
goats and
something.
sheep and stuff. And it's kind of I thought it was quite silly and amusing, but
Yeah.
the he's kind of like he's kind of like he's like the interface in the game, the orator or the herald, and that's kind of a feature of the Anno series. So this one piqued my interest, and apparently it's quite interesting because you can choose your like starting province, so you can start building in your like in the kind of area called Latium, which is the area around, I guess, what's modern day Rome. Or there's another option where you kind of have like a Celtic setting, which is sort of like early Britain, and so that sounded kind of interesting. So yeah, it's still not a lot of details for this. It's a 2025 game, sometime in 2025. But yeah, it just amused me because it had just had a very silly trailer, and sounded quite interesting. If you're into like your sort of real time, I guess best way to describe it is real time economic simulator kind of game, because it's not so much your it's not so much about battles and things like that. It's more about like city building, and it's like very much SimCity like, but just with a different historical time period.
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha. And with this coming out, so this comes out next year.
2025, yeah.
Yeah, 2025. No set month. Although Civ's coming out 2025. They're both huge games. You're massively into like Roman history. How would you
Yeah.
choose, and what would be the things that would you point out for gamers who are interested in both that would make?
Also, yeah. So one Civ is obviously turn-based. I
Yep.
suspect they'll stick to that.
Yep.
I don't think. Although they could surprise us, but I think
Oh, I don't think so. No, I think they'll stick to the winning formula.
they'll stick to the turn-based formula. Whereas the Anno series is RTS, like real-time strategy.
Yep.
So it just depends on which you kind of like more. I like both. They have different appeals. Like I like the challenge that comes with real-time strategy is that you can't afford to be idle, because if you because while you're doing things, your opponents are also doing things. So that's one of the aspects of real-time strategy that is fun. On the other hand, turn-based strategy is kind of a little. Sometimes when you don't want that kind of stressful kind of gaming aspect. Turn-based strategy is kind of cool because you can take your turn, wander off, and I don't know, muck around with the kids or put the washing out or whatever you're doing, or the domestic thing you're doing, and you come back and your game's all good and you kind of keep going with it. That's the appeal of turn-based. So, yeah, definitely it makes it possibly hard to choose, but I think they have different appeals. They're going for sort of slightly different appeals, like and obviously Civ is very expansive, and you've got even with their starting pack of civilizations, it'll be pretty diverse, and then they add more, and you know the world's your oyster in a way.
Quite literally, yeah.
Yeah, literally. So
Yeah, nice.
yeah, we could be interesting to see the timing of both releases and see if they bump into each other at all. Although I think they do go to different. They appeal to different sort of gamers in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Well, I haven't really dipped my toes into either of those series for a long time, so maybe next year I'm sure we'll do maybe an RTS episode or something, or a strategy-based one, and deep dive into those with gameplay. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, nice. All right, we've got 2 more to go. Thanks for staying with us, people of Perth and beyond, because there's so much to cover, and we can't do it all. And we are saving a few things for Pat. Had to put this one out there. Hand on heart, I am not someone who's played all the Assassin's Creed games. I remember playing them in the early years, and it was just like, that's not quite for me. I did dip into Assassin's Creed Odyssey a little bit and Valhalla a little bit, and they're great, but I was just not in the right stage of life with 2 very young children to be sinking hours into games that are collectathons in many ways. As good as they are, I'm not criticizing the games. Like, they got their pros and cons, but for me, it was like, I can't navigate the entire world while changing nappies. Anyway, as the kids grow up, games like this become more appealing, and this is one that's been wanted by fans for a long time, and rightly so. It's based in Japan, and you can play so it's in the Sengoku period of Japan. It's a very fascinating period of warfare and development as well. You can play also for the first time as 2 characters. So you got Yasuke, who's a samurai from Africa who was brought over by the Portuguese, and apparently he's an actual historical figure. And then Naoe, who's a shinobi, and you can pick between the 2 when you approach certain situations. So Yasuke is more combat-focused samurai, whereas Naoe can do climb all over the roofs and then slink into rooms and assassinate people. But as you can see, they do open combat as well. This looks really good just because the setting of Japan is always interesting at that period of time. The combat in these games is refined expertly, and what appeals to me in particular is the lack of just markers and stuff that it's telling you have to do a side quest. So apparently one thing they've done differently with this game in particular is not litter your map, and when you go to view a territory, it doesn't litter it with all these icons saying what you need to do, and go harvest 10 sheep and then go explore that cave, because to me that feels like a massive to-do list. I'd rather I do like the Breath of the Wild style kind of thing, where it's like, we'll just do it my way when I want to make it like exploration. Johhny, are you into these kind of games at all? What do you think of this?
I'm not the biggest Assassin's Creed fan. I did dabble a bit with the Odyssey because of the ancient Greek setting. It's kind of cool, and I think it's just I'm surprised that they haven't already done a game in with a feudal Japan setting. That's kind of seems like it's sort of made for Assassin's Creed. So yeah, I reckon this would be a lot of fun to try out. Yeah, not certainly by no stretch of the imagination the biggest fan of the series though, but if you're a fan of the series, I think you'll probably get a lot out of this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this one's coming out on 12 November, so not too far away. It'll be on the Xbox, PlayStation, PC. Following the big trailer that we saw, there is a in-depth, a deep dive for gameplay on the Ubisoft channel, which is worth looking at. It explores the 2 different characters and the facets of the gameplay, and whether you want to choose one over the other. Again, all the the visuals, the audio looks top notch. Yeah, I'm excited to see how it all shakes out, and I'm hoping it's big but not overwhelmingly chore-like, if that makes sense. All right, we have one last one for today, which I'm greedy as. It's my last pick.
What's the big finish?
The big finish is Fable. So I had to pick this one. Fable. So with the Xbox coming out, there were a lot of game series people like, where are they? You know, PlayStation's got so much stuff. It's got God of War. It's got The Last of Us. It's got the Horizon series. There's a lot there. It's got Uncharted. This is a series that was on I think it was the original Xbox, and then the Xbox 360 had a sequel. It was beloved, but the studio folded, and then eventually this franchise has been picked up by Playground, who do the Forza Horizon? Yeah, the Horizon games, which are incredible. I'm excited about this because we didn't expect to see more Fable at this showcase. It was there last year and there was more cinematic footage and people thought, oh, it looks great, but it's 2 or 3 years away. The fact that it was at this showcase with more gameplay was really exciting because it feels like it's more real. It's not going to go into development hell. They've given a 2025 release date. We don't know when, probably December. I wouldn't be surprised. But this is looking really good because it's leaning into the whole British comedy thing. The actual gameplay snippets we do see look interesting, and I like the direction that it's got. Like, looks like quite focused, highly, highly detailed, very next gen, and of course that swords and sorcery, fantasy, RPG kind of game. I'm not as excited about this as I am for Avowed, but I'm very excited it's coming, and next year because there's enough to play this year. Johhny, did you see this trailer? Have you checked it out before?
I think I must have missed this one while I was battling the early winter lurgy. But yeah, this looks like more of your kind of straight up and down high medieval, medieval sitch. But yeah, no, it looks definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is also, it is more for that kind of core audience who are used to their big RPGs, Worlds of Warcraft, Dragon Age, even Diablo, stuff like that. Baldur's Gate 3, which has been phenomenally successful this year and when it came out. So I'm curious to see how it competes with those in terms of quality. How big is the game? Is it a massive open world or is it focused? Yeah, again, I love that it's leaning into the British humor thing. And again, it's another, and they needed it. Like the Xbox, people or customers and the brand needed like another big exclusive. So, with Perfect Dark, and they've got the Gears announcement. Doom, it's not exclusive, but it was, developed by the Xbox, like Bethesda, who's owned by Microsoft. So yeah, it's a really exciting time. And again, this will come to PC, and again, this will come to Game Pass. So it is an absolutely wonderful time for gamers left, right, and center. But Johhny, I think that is all we have time for. There was about another 50 games announced at all the showcases. Is there anything you want to yell out quickly too, or are we good because there's too much to play?
There is so much to play in the near future and also next year. And I'll just note we haven't heard really much of a peep out of Nintendo yet. So
where's Nintendo?
So stay tuned, viewers from Perth and beyond, because we have more to cover in terms of exciting announcements for the next 6 months and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's leaks that Nintendo themselves announced that they will do something in June. I think it was for Akara. So
they've promised Direct in June. So I think that could come anytime in the next kind of week or so. So yeah, but there's already been so much announced by the other, by Sony and Xbox and a lot of the third party studios already. So it's been a big June so far.
It's been massive, yeah. Nintendo will probably want a week or two just to have a bit of space and then do their own thing, which is always unique. People are playing Paper Mario 1000 Year Door Remake, which looks great. Johhny, before we go, any big predictions for putting you on the spot? Any big predictions for the Switch show? Well, the Switch Nintendo Direct, which typically covers the next 6 months, but sometimes glimpses, like gives us a glimpse into the next year, and we know the Switch 2 is coming. Anything in particular you think you'll see or you expect?
I don't know. Expect is probably too strong. Like a prediction, not so much from the head, but from the heart, is to hear something about Metroid Prime 4, like just something to, you know, like to that this game exists and it hasn't completely died, because it's been so long now since that, even since that announcement that the development was being restarted. So yeah, that's not so much a prediction from the head, but one from the heart. But yeah, look, it will be interesting because it will be very much a wrap up of the Nintendo Switch generation, because then after this one, future directs will probably be starting to pave the way for the successor console. So that's going to be interesting in what they include to sort of wrap up what's been quite a long generation of Nintendo consoles. So yes, very interesting time.
Yeah, it's so curious because that game was announced early into the Switch's life cycle. It was in development hell. There are rumors that it's ready to go. I think it makes sense for Nintendo to release it on the current Switch if they can, just because there's 100+ million people on there. Whereas if they release it with a new console, a lot of people might not even be into that type of game because it is a bit more niche than, you know, your classic Mario platformer. So you know, we might see it. It should be ready. We might see it, although it might not release until next year, you know, in unison with the new platform. I mean, they're now putting out Luigi's Mansion 2, so I'm sure we'll get an original Luigi's Mansion remake for December or something like that, or October. You know, Paper Mario, Princess Peach, Mario versus Donkey Kong. We saw Mario Wonder last year, so we've probably got about 9 more Mario games to come out. Probably Mario Paint, the original mouse game. Johhny, I don't know.
Right.
Remember that one? Swatting flies.
Color a Dinosaur 2024. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my God. But look, people of Perth and beyond, we hope you've enjoyed today's show. Check out our website at perthgamingcrew.com. We're also on Insta. We've got a new article up about some random indie game up there. It's worth having a look. We will be covering the Nintendo Direct when it comes. It's coming soon, so keep your eyes out. Johhny, anything else for you to say for our viewers?
No, just saying it's great to be back after a little bit of a break, and yeah, hope to be talking all things Nintendo soon.
Fantastic. And that is all from the Perth Gaming Crew show. Enjoy your weekend, people of Perth and beyond. See ya.